Yeah, I don't. Looks good to you guys. Okay. I believe so.
To right now.
There's nothing on channel 20. There's wild. This mic is open now.
Pictures? Yeah.
Can I just stand down here then?
Yes, we just put that out so that you would hear something.
Dave.
DC.
Oh, I'm sorry, DC.
You're out of DC, right?
Thank you.
This is at DCI.
Okay, this is your transmission pool again. I've asked.
Down, bend, cut in.
Sorry.
Lurch.
Just warning you.
Love is okay. It's your choice.
We can't walk away.
Sorry, sir, just to make you aware. Just shoot you watch. Thank you.
Техническая проверка. 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126.
Good day. Just double checking our last minute translation booths, making sure everyone is getting everything as needed. Again, you should be having English in your English only modes. The floor will get both everything at the same time. On your headsets, it should be 00 floor, 01 should be English, and 02 should be Russian on your headsets. So again, just doing a couple last minute checks, making sure everything is going through as it should. Thank you.
Кремлевский пул, у вас все хорошо, все нормально? Камеры, покажите, пожалуйста, большой палец, что все нормально. Все, спасибо большое.
Can I stand here? Can I?
And you just ask them, make sure ask them about the platform. And then okay, I just want to warn you that because I'm back by the camera instead of at my seat, if we get into it, I'm going to have to sit down. I'm not going to be able to record the 2-minute thing. Does that make sense? Yes. And so we're not running my package, is that what you're saying? That's okay, no, that's not what they're saying. They just told me. Okay, so you should come to me like right off the top if possible. To give it to us. Go sit down.
Цена прямо сейчас.
We get a 2-minute one. Okay. So Russian I don't just keep this. I understand, but like they're not Russian themselves. I don't. So there's like
Техническая сторона вопроса уже готова. Типа Дмитриев появляется в зале пресс-конференции, появляется все это. Придется представить президента. И кроме того, глава российского коллектива. Вот прямо сейчас, видите, уже на него набросились, но потому что...
Nobody's going live right now, but it's just yeah, we're aware. I'm not
Mike.
off. You got to put the switch. Switch.
this recorder's not ready to be finished.
Cell phones. Cell phones barely hanging in there. Well, that's part of the problem. That is also on the live use. But also, Secret Service think they can want anything. They can just zip us. They were going to give us hard lines. Flip phone? None of these three are. It's like running a train station blind.
I already read all the
Colville. Colville. It's a 3G, 4G phone.
Oh yeah?
It'll work better.
Yeah.
You don't have the adapter?
I can't break it now.
Oh,
I'm Bluetoothing into my thing, but thanks.
no worries. I usually do a USB-C hardwire. So do the new cell phones.
Yeah. I do have that cable, I just in the middle of it now.
Yeah, it's fine. The flip phones are a little, they're older, but they don't take as much bandwidth.
Where's your line you plug into?
What's that? No.
Watch your back, mister. Sir. Huh?
It's a losing fight. Robert, over here. Mark, how do you Bluetooth into the mixer? Down to 3? Yeah, yeah. They're very good. It's these are definitely lose a lot as well. Yes, I am back. Still spot. About 15 minutes ago, Americans and Russians were ushered into a press conference with several hundred on either side of the aisle. Americans and Russians separated, empty podiums up ahead of us with a few piece written in letters above the two lecterns. The senior staff of both Russians and the Americans have filtered in, they're sitting in the front row. So we're waiting some sort of notification that the press might begin. There's a sense of surprise here because I think we were waiting to hear that the three-on-three meetings initially there would be a larger lunch for more of the staff and various representatives here, and that didn't happen. They decided to come out and do this press conference now. So read into that way as well.
Our world. You see a switch over here? Yeah, switch. Do you know what Wi-Fi there used to be one under this light maybe? They took my water. Oh, that's right. They took all the food and water. Okay.
The thing that Donald Trump has first and foremost said is that some sort of during these meetings on the
I don't see it. Comment for feature. West? Or west? Somewhere north. Nobody's really open. Right? Somewhere
I saw his face as he was walking around. And kept on expressing his response.
Cat 5 goes straight back that way. So somewhere in that section. But at least we're not getting it. No. You're on the army on the night. I can't. None of us are skinny enough to crawl under this. He buried it under the. That's where the blue cable goes to.
Sorry, repeat that. Oh, that wasn't.
That's not a pretty one. Is that photonic? Photonics? Yeah.
Okay. Well then.
Mario says it's buried over there somewhere. I mean, I'll Gumby, but not that far.
Rachel dropped.
Possibly come up to another wireless as well. I mean, we can definitely add him to that other thing. Wi-Fi. So
Yeah, the other Wi-Fi is totally dead. Isn't working.
Hey, New York, how's this audio now? How's this audio with Kelly now? I need to go closer to her.
I need back in there, sir. From a pole position. So that cable didn't work long enough. the exit? Oh, the exit just came in. Caroline Lutnick? Lutnick? She may have to give up on this. He'll see you live.
Without progress on the ceasefire, I think American allies quite successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America and the President of the Russian Federation.
Уважаемый господин президент,
Mr. President,
дамы и господа,
ladies and gentlemen,
наши переговоры
our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual
были
respect.
весьма обстоятельными
We had
и
very
полезными.
thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to
Вполне
Alaska.
логично
It
встретиться
only
именно
makes sense
здесь,
that we've met
ведь
here,
наши страны,
because our
хоть нас
countries,
разделяют океаны,
though
на самом
separated by the
деле
oceans,
близкие
are
соседи.
close neighbors.
И я, когда мы встретились,
So when we've met,
вышли из самолетов, я так
when I
сказал,
came out of the plane and I've said,
добрый день, дорогой
good afternoon,
сосед,
dear
очень
neighbor,
приятно видеть вас
very good to see you,
в добром здравии
in good
и
health,
живым.
and to see you
И
alive.
по-соседски это очень
I think that is very
звучит,
neighborly,
по-моему, по-доброму.
and I think that's some
Нас разделяет только
kind words
Берингов
that we can
пролив.
say
Да
to
и
each
то,
other.
там два
We're
острова
separated by the Strait of
между
Bering, though there are two islands
российским
only
и
between the Russian
американским
island
островом
and
всего
the
4
US island. They're
километра.
only 4
Мы близкие
kilometers
соседи,
apart.
это факт.
We're close neighbors,
Важно
and it's a
также, что
fact.
с Аляской связана
It's also
значительная
important
часть
that
общей
Alaska
истории
has to
России
do with our
и
common
США.
heritage,
Многие
common history between
позитивные
Russia and the
события.
US, and
Так,
many
здесь и
positive
по
events
сей день
have to do with that
сохраняется
territory.
огромное культурное
Still, there is
наследие
tremendous
после русской мира.
cultural heritage back
Православные
from the Russian
храмы,
America. For example,
множество,
Orthodox
более
churches
700
and a lot of
названий,
more than
имеющих русское
700
происхождение.
geographical names of Russian
В
origin.
ходе Второй мировой войны
During the
именно на
Second World
Аляске
War, it was here
начиналась
in Alaska
легендарная
that was the
авиамагистраль
origin
для
of the
поставок
legendary
боевых
air bridge
самолетов
for
и
the
другой
supply of military
техники по
aircraft and
договору
other equipment
Ленд-Лиза.
under the Land-Lease
Это был
program.
опасный,
It was a
сложный
dangerous
маршрут
and treacherous
над
route
громадными ледяными
over the
пространствами.
vast
Но летчики и
emptiness of
специалисты двух
ice.
стран делали все,
However, the
чтобы
pilots of
приблизить
both
победу,
countries did
рисковали,
everything to bring closer the
отдавали
victory.
свои жизни
They
ради
risked their
победы.
lives and
Вот
they
я
gave it
еще
all
сейчас
for the
только
common
что был
victory.
в городе Магадане,
I was
в
just
России, там
in the city of
памятник
Magadan in Russia, and there is a
российским и
memorial there
американским
dedicated to the
летчикам.
Russian and
И
the
флаг
US pilots.
на памятнике российский
And
и
there are two flags, the
американский. Я знаю,
US
что
flag
и
and the Russian
здесь,
flag.
и здесь
And I
тоже
know
есть
that here
такой
as
же
well
памятник.
there
На
is
военном
such a
кладбище
memorial.
всего в нескольких километрах отсюда
There is a military
захоронены
burial
советские
place
пилоты,
several kilometers away
погибшие
from
при
here,
выполнении той
Soviet
героической
pilots that
миссии.
buried there who
Признательны
died during that
американским
dangerous
властям и
mission. We're
гражданам за
thankful to the
бережное
citizens and
отношение
the
к их
government of the
памяти.
U.S. for
Это выглядит
carefully taking
достойно
care
и
of their memory. I think that's very
всегда будем
worthy and
помнить
noble.
другие
We'll
исторические
always
примеры,
remember
когда
other
наши
historical
страны
examples
вместе
when our
громили
countries
общих врагов в
defeated
духе
common
боевого
enemies together
товарищества и
in the spirit of
союзничества,
battle
оказывали друг
camaraderie
другу
and
помощь и
allyship
поддержку.
that supported each
Это
other
наследие,
and
уверен,
facilitated
будет нам
each other.
помогать
I'm sure that this
восстанавливать,
heritage will help us
выстраивать
rebuild and
взаимовыгодные
foster
равноправные
mutually
связи
beneficial
уже
and equal
на новом
ties
этапе, даже
at
в
this
самых
new stage,
непростых
even
условиях.
during the hardest
Как
conditions.
известно, российско-американские
It
встречи
is
в
known
верхах
that there have
не
been
проводились более
no
4
summits
лет.
between Russia and the U.S.
Это
for
большой
4
срок.
years, and
Минувший
that's
период
a
был
long
очень
time.
непростым для двухсторонних
This time was very
отношений. И, скажем
hard for
прямо,
bilateral
они
relations, and
скатились
let's be
до самой
frank,
низкой
they've fallen
точки
to
со
the
времен
lowest
Холодной войны. И
point
это
since
не идет на
the Cold
пользу
War.
ни нашим
I think
странам,
that's
да, и
not
миру
benefiting
в
our
целом.
countries and the world as a
Очевидно,
whole.
что рано или
It is
поздно
apparent
нужно
that
было
sooner or
выправлять
later
ситуацию,
we had
переходить
to
от
amend the
конфронтации к
situation to move on
диалогу. И
from
в
the
этом плане
confrontation
личная
to
встреча
dialogue.
глав
And in
двух
this case, a
государств
personal
реально
meeting
назрела.
between the heads
Конечно,
of state
с
has
условием
been long
серьезной и
overdue,
кропотливой
naturally,
подготовки. И такая
under the
работа
condition of
в целом
serious and
была
painstaking work.
проделана.
And this
У
work
нас
has
с
been done in
президентом
general.
Трампом установились
Me and
очень
President
хорошие
Trump have
прямые
very good
контакты.
direct
Мы
contact.
неоднократно
We've
и
spoken
откровенно
multiple times. We spoke
разговаривали по
frankly
телефону.
on the phone.
К нам, как известно, в Россию несколько раз приезжал
And
спецпредставитель
special envoy
президента США,
of
господин
the
Рыв.
president, Mr. Witkoff,
Регулярно
traveled out to Russia
контактировали
several
наши
times.
помощники и главы
Our
внешнеполитических
advisors and
ведомств.
heads of foreign
Как вы
ministries
хорошо
kept in
знаете,
touch all the
понимаете, одним
time.
из
And you
центральных
know fully
вопросов
well that one of
стала
the
ситуация
central
вокруг
issues
Украины.
was the
видим
situation
стремление
around
администрации
Ukraine.
США
We see the
и
strive
лично
of the
президента Трампа
administration and
содействовать
President Trump
разрешению
personally to
украинского
help
конфликта.
facilitate
Его
the
желание
resolution of
вникнуть
the
в
Ukrainian
суть
conflict
и
and his
понять
strive
его
to
историю.
get to the
Я не раз
crux of
говорил,
the
что
matter to
для
understand
России
its history
события на Украине
is
связаны с
precious.
фундаментальными
As I've
угрозами
said,
нашей
the
национальной
situation
безопасности.
in Ukraine
Более
has to do
того,
with
мы
fundamental
всегда
threats to
считали
our
и
security.
считаем
Moreover,
украинский
we've
народ,
always
я говорил об
considered
этом неоднократно,
the
братским,
Ukrainian
как
nation,
это ни
and I've said
странно
it multiple
прозвучит
times, a
в
brotherly
сегодняшних
nation,
условиях.
however
У
strange
нас
it may
одни корни, и
sound
все
in these conditions.
и все
We have the
происходящее
same
для
roots,
нас
and everything
это
that's
трагедия и
happening is a
тяжелая
tragedy
боль.
for us,
Поэтому
and terrible
наша
wound.
страна искренне
Therefore, the
заинтересована в
country
том,
is
чтобы
sincerely
положить
interested
этому
in
конец.
putting an end
Но
to
при
it.
этом мы убеждены,
At the same time,
чтобы
we're convinced
чтобы украинское
in
урегулирование
order
носило
to
устойчивый и
make
долгосрочный
the
характер,
settlement
должны быть устранены все
lasting and long
первопричины
term, we need
кризиса,
to eliminate all the
о которых говорили
primary roots,
неоднократно.
the
Обеспечен
primary
учет всех
causes of that
законных
conflict. And we've said it
озабоченностей
multiple
России,
times, to
восстановлен
consider all
справедливый
legitimate
баланс в
concerns
сфере
of Russia and
безопасности в
to
Европе и в
reinstate
мире
a
в
just
целом.
balance
Я
of
согласен с
security in
президентом
Europe and in
Трампом,
the
он
world on
сегодня
the whole.
говорил об
And I
этом,
agree with President
что,
Trump, as he has said today,
должна быть
that
обеспечена
naturally
и
the
безопасность
security
Украины.
of Ukraine should be ensured
Конечно,
as well.
мы готовы над
Naturally,
этим
we are
работать.
prepared to work
Хочется
on that.
надеяться, что достигнутое нами
I would
понимание
like to hope that the
позволит
agreement that we've
приблизиться к той
reached
цели
together
и
will help
откроет
us
дорогу к
bring
миру
closer
на
that goal and
Украине.
will pave
Мы
the
рассчитываем,
path
что в
towards peace
Киеве
in
и
Ukraine.
европейских
We expect
столицах
that Kiev and
воспримут
European
все это в
capitals will
конструктивном
perceive
ключе
that
и не станут
constructively
чинить
and that
никаких
they won't throw a
препятствий.
wrench
Не
in the
будут
works.
предпринимать
They
попыток
will
за
not
счет
make any
провокаций или
attempts
закулисных интриг
to use some
сорвать
backroom dealings to
намечающийся
conduct
прогресс.
provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Кстати, с приходом новой администрации
Incidentally,
США
when the new
двусторонний
administration
товарооборот
came to
начал
power,
повышаться.
bilateral trade
Все
started to grow.
это носит пока такой символический характер, но
It's still
все-таки
very
плюс
symbolic.
20%.
Still, we
Я
have
говорю о том, что у нас много
a growth of
интересных
20%. As I've said, we have a lot
для
of
совместной
dimensions for
работы.
joint
Очевидно,
work.
что
It
российско-американское
is
деловое
clear that
и
U.S.
инвестиционное
and Russian
партнерство имеет огромный
investment and business
потенциал. Россия и США
cooperation has
есть что
tremendous
предложить
potential.
друг другу в
Russia and the
торговле,
U.S. can
энергетике,
offer each
цифровой
other so
сфере,
much in
высоких
trade,
технологиях и
digital,
освоении
high-tech,
космоса.
and in
Актуальным
space
видится их
exploration.
взаимодействие в Арктике,
We see
возобновление
that Arctic
межрегиональных
cooperation
контактов,
is
в том
also
числе
very
между нашим
and
Дальним
our
Востоком и
international
американским
context,
западным
for example,
побережьем.
between the Far East
В
of
общем,
Russia and the west
нашим
coast of the
странам
U.S.
важно и
Overall,
нужно
it's very important
перелистнуть
for our
страницу
countries to
и
turn the
вернуться к
page, to
сотрудничеству.
go back to
Символично,
cooperation.
что
It is
неподалеку
symbolic
на
that not
границе
far away from
России и
here,
США,
the
как
border
я уже
between
говорил,
Russia and the
проходит
U.S.,
так называемая
there is a
линия
so-called
перемены
international
дат,
date line,
где можно буквально перешагнуть перешагнуть
I think you can
из
step
вчера в
over
завтра.
literally from yesterday into tomorrow.
Надеюсь, что у нас так и
And I
получится.
hope that we'll succeed in that.
Политическом
in political sphere. I would like to thank President Trump for our joint work, for the well-wishing and trustworthy tone of our conversation. It's important that both sides are result-oriented, and we see that the President of the U.S. has a very clear idea of what he would like to achieve. He sincerely cares about the prosperity of his nation. Still, he understands that Russia has its own national interests. I expect that today's agreements will be the starting point, not only for the solution of the Ukrainian issue, but also will help us bring back business-like and pragmatic relations between Russia and the U.S. And in the end, I would like to add one more thing. I'd like to remind you that in 2022, during the last contact with the previous administration, I tried to convince my previous American colleague that the situation should not be brought to the point of no return when it would come to hostilities. And I said it quite directly back then that it's a big mistake. Today, when President Trump is saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good, business-like and trustworthy contact. And I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict in Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. That was very profound, and I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Ratcliffe, thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here, and I think everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time, and we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax that made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all, but we had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team, whose faces, who I know in many cases, other than that, whose faces I get to see all the time in the newspapers. You're almost as famous as the boss, but especially this one right over here. But we had some good meetings over the years, right? Good productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that in the future. But let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Thank you.
And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Crazy. Let's go. Let's get up there.
Down, please, sir, down. Down, please, thank you.
They are moving the pool right now. They're rushing the pool out. All the properties of the advocates, because I can see them all moving. U.S. pool.
Down. Down.